Yo, what is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to episode 19 of the Posh Push, here with Peterborough United. And today I have for you guys the last game of the season live com. We go into this game with a little bit left to play for, more on that shortly, but I just want to say so far this series has gone amazingly and it's down to your support. And I just want to say a huge thank you to all you guys for your ongoing support in the comments, just by leaving likes, by tweeting out the kind of videos when they go up. If you're on my Facebook fan page, for liking it there, I do greatly appreciate it. So anyway, first things first, just a recap and a little update, I guess, on the financial status of the club. Our financial status is now okay. We have been promoted, spoiler alert, and with this, we are now going to be healthy financially. The money that was gifted to the club, it was not given in the form of a loan, it was just in the form of a straight-out investment. You can see here, if we go to investments, there was 700k put there, and also in other, we were given £4 million by our board to help cover our financial issues. So that was really good of them, and that leaves us in a very healthy position as we are going to be progressing into the Premier League. So today I have for you guys the last game of the season. We actually go into this game with a very outside chance of winning the league. The situation basically means that we would have to beat Norwich, and Newcastle, who are playing Huddersfield, would have to lose. So that's not looking particularly likely, but I thought I'd use this kind of last game of the season as kind of a summary of this season. It's been a little bit anticlimactic, the end to the season. But anyway, there were some fixtures to tell you guys about since the last episode, which was against Brentford. Now, normally I'd go into a load of detail about these, how they kind of panned out, but it seems a little bit irrelevant today. But we'll have a quick glance at them. You can see we beat Fulham 3-0, Sombolonga getting on the score sheet. Johnny Russell and Will Hughes also getting goals there. We then lost to Nottingham Forest. A little bit disappointing that. It was our first home defeat since we lost to Norwich, actually, at the end of November. So that was disappointing, I guess, to lose that unbeaten home record. But all good things have to come to an end. Following on from this, we then beat Rotherham. We didn't beat Rotherham. We drew with Rotherham. Federico Friere with the only goal of the game there. Then Sheffield Wednesday, we beat them 2-0. Sombolonga and Boswick getting the goals in that 2-0. We then beat Leeds United. Lee Chung-yong, a player who has struggled to kind of, I guess, establish himself in our side, grabbing 2. Good for him, because he's not played very well this year since we signed him. He is our highest earner at the club. Of course, we picked him up from Bolton. He was a little bit of a punt coming in. By and large, he's been quite disappointing, but it was good to see him get 2 goals there, and that might give him some momentum and some promise of kind of getting something out of him, I guess, next year. Anyway, the game after that was against Sunderland. We drew this one as well. Sombolonga and Will Hughes grabbing the goals. We then beat Wigan 2-0. Sombolonga again getting on the score sheet. Friere getting on there as well. He's had an absolutely insane season at the club. He's had 8 goals and 17 assists in 43 games from out on the left. He's really made that position his own. And then the last game of this kind of run of results was actually the most exciting in my eyes. We went into this game knowing that if Newcastle won, we had to draw to have a chance on the last day of the season of kind of challenging them. If we'd won this game, it would actually have resulted in a situation whereby if Newcastle drew, we could win and still win the league. Unfortunately, we couldn't muster that up, and this game was a real exciting one at that. So as I mentioned, we had to win this, or at least get a draw to go into the last game of the season with some hope left, and it was looking pretty dire. About 14 minutes in, when we conceded our second goal of the game, I think it was Blackman who got both goals, Nick Blackman, the striker, and that put us under some pressure. And in the second half, I really had to go on the attack, and this is when the game got really lively. First goal of the game was scored by... first goal for us was scored by Sombolonga, and he followed it up with his second of the game not long afterwards to tie it up at 2-2 with 10 minutes left. Because of the situation we kind of found ourselves in, I decided to go for the win, and I thought I was going to go home heartbroken when in the 93rd minute, Watford scored. Nice little play by them here, Forestieri with the goal, and it was 3-2. Time was slipping away. If it stayed like this, we would not have a chance going into the last day of the season. We had to do something, and straight from kick-off, we scored that. 4 passes, an absolutely insane response. It resulted in the game finishing 3-3, Assombalonga rounding off his hat-trick and us still having a sniff at the title going into the last day. Assombalonga, of course, has had an absolutely fantastic season at the club. He's not improved hugely, but he's certainly better than he was at the start of the year in terms of his attributes. Statistically, he's had a very good year though. 36 goals in 40 appearances. First 2 seasons at the club that I've been here have been fantastic. Last year he didn't score that many in the league. I say that, he got 22, but he got 19 in the cup. This year his attention has been a lot more focused on the cup, and he is benefiting as a result of that. You can see there, he's just been insane. 7 player of the matches and a 7.31 average rating is just incredible, despite a poor run of form at one point in this year. So anyway, that's him. In terms of other top performers this year, Will Hughes is up there. He's contributed massively in the centre attacking mid area. I know at the start of the season a lot of you guys were telling me to play him at centre mid. With the addition of Hendrick and a few other players, it felt right to play him higher up the pitch. He has a better, I guess, attacking prowess than a lot of those other players, and his poor work rate, well, not poor, but 13 work rate combined with his kind of average speed means it can be a struggle for him to get high up the park when need be. And his talents were just going to be wasted at deep line playmaker. I wanted him to be more actively involved in the play. Playing him at advanced playmaker allowed him to do that this year, and a 7.35 average rating in the league is the result. It's been a great year for him. Other top players, Kakuta's done well really since he joined us on loan this year. 20 appearances, 7 assists, 5 goals. When we've called upon him, he has certainly done a job for us. Other good performances have come from the likes of Jacob Mellis, who's made 16 appearances and 7 off the bench. This guy was obviously huge in our kind of season last year. This year he's kind of been phased out a little bit, but still to average a 7.18 average rating is no mean feat. And if he doesn't play today, which he's not set to start at least, he'll actually equal the amount of appearances he had last year. Obviously a slight step down from last year, but that's kind of a natural occurrence, especially when you consider we've stepped up a division and added players that also play Jacob Mellis's position. Jack Baldwin's had a very good year at the club. He's improved leaps and bounds as a player. Currently valued at 3.3 million. I'm not going to be selling him, I don't think, unless there was a crazy offer to come in. But he is looking like a very good signing right now, and a 7.17 average rating for a player of his age is a fantastic achievement in his first year at this level. Zakuani and Bostwick have also played well, both players capable of playing at centre-back for us. Zakuani's played 24 games at a 7.15 average rating. Meanwhile, Bostwick has played very well when we've called upon him to play various positions. You can see he's been involved in 43 games this year, and he's played 22 from centre-back and 24 from centre mid, and in both those positions he's averaged above a 7 average rating, which is pretty darn impressive really. Besides that, Jeff Hendricks had a good year, good Irish international. We signed him up this year. He's improved in his defensive elements of his game. He's looking like a player who's going to be a really solid centre mid for years to come. If he can just continue to improve at the level he's improved this year for a few more years yet. Matthew Briggs has been a kind of staple of our first team. He's played left back in 43 games in the league of the 45 we've played so far. He's also made 1 appearance off the bench, so he's missed 1 game. Been a great player for us, looking like a fantastic acquisition. Of course, we picked him up last year on a free. You can see he's averaged just shy of a 7 average rating this year, as he did last year really, but he has had a slight improvement, which is good to see. Other players to play in the team regularly who I've not really touched on too much. Bob is here. His contract does run out at the end of the year. I'm not sure if I'm going to extend that or not. It just depends on kind of the squad status he wants and the money he wants. But he's only got a 6.81 average rating. Might look to strengthen up the goalkeeping area of the pitch. Craig Alcott's been an essential part of our right back position. You can see here he's made 38 appearances. A pretty disappointing season by his standards. He's just not been as prolific as he was the previous year. It's a shame really. He is more of a centre-back than a full-back in terms of he doesn't really have the pace, but he is still a very, very good centre-back and a player who I'm probably going to look to keep at the club, regardless of the fact he's not had the best year, because he will still be a fine option at centre-back as a young English player, or younger English player. I say 27, he's not exactly young anymore, but as I guess an English player who can still be a staple of our side. So that's pretty much the team in short. there's a few other players who I will touch upon who were here last year. Will Keane has had an okay year this year, not improved massively, but when we've called upon him, he's done a job for us, I guess. Only 4 goals in 6 appearances that were starts and 23 off the bench. Perhaps slightly underwhelming, although he has been playing out of position at right wing, generally when we've brought him on. Other players who a feature, Jacob Mellis I've already talked about, but you've also got a few other players like Will Keane, who's improved. Will Keane. Where am I going with this? Kane Ferdinand. I clicked the wrong guy and said the wrong name. Kane Ferdinand's improved this year. The 22-year-old, another Irish player. He might improve. I'm probably going to look to loan him out. I tried to loan him out this year and there wasn't really too many opportunities for him. This year he's not had the best season when he's played for us. He hasn't played too much for us in general, really. But he's a player with some potential, and maybe a loan out for him next year will benefit him greatly. Adam Lafont has been particularly underwhelming on his loan. Fortunately, it was just a loan. I kept him in the side just rather than terminating his loan, so we did have a backup option if a disaster struck and, say, Assombalonga was to get injured or whatever. We still had a striker that we could stick on the bench for us. But overall, it's been a bloody good year. It's been a really good year. We've beaten all expectations. It's been beyond my wildest dreams, kind of how well we've played. That's largely down to Hughes, Freire and Assombalonga. Just looking at the league table, you can see here we actually have one of the best defences in the league. Only Reading have got a better defensive record than us. And then on the goal scoring front, we do have the best attack. So you could kind of argue that we have been the best team and we deserve to be where we are in the league, which is second right now. But the question is, can we do a late shock? We are going to be playing against Norwich. Newcastle are playing Huddersfield. I think I've already mentioned this. So we go into this game knowing that there's a little bit of pressure on us to play. If we can win, we give ourselves a chance of, going and winning the league here, which it's kind of not the be-all or end-all, but it's kind of a target that would kind of cap off the season. We're in a similar situation to last year, really, where we are chasing a title that isn't in our hands and hoping that results can go our way. As I've said, I'm not particularly kind of optimistic of things going our way. As you can see, Newcastle already 1-0 up after 20 minutes because we do need them to lose. But I felt like I should do a live com just to cap off this year, really. In terms of our plan going forward, I'm probably going to be focusing on young players, be it from abroad. I'd like to keep a fairly English spine to the side, but that can be particularly troublesome when coming up into the Premier League because, generally speaking, English players just cost more. And that can be rather awkward, especially when you're perhaps working on a tight budget. I'm not actually sure kind of how much money we are going to have to spend in the side this year in the Premier League as we go up. The board obviously did a very good job of raising some funds and actually plugging basically the financial issues that we had that I kind of drew your attention to last episode. So that was good to see them kind of, invest essentially £4.7 million, I think it was in total. There were 2 separate investments going on. That's helped us out massively financially, and obviously the Premier League TV money and all that stuff is going to continue to help us grow financially. Next year, the real aim is just going to be to stay in the Premier League. My track record of keeping teams in the Premier League, just in general on FM, especially on stream saves and whatever, is pretty solid. I've done it a fair few times. I don't think I've got relegated from the Premier League first year, and very often I can get a mid-table finish. That's going to be a pretty tough ask here, just because we've rocketed it through the leagues. We've almost done a Southampton and Norwich in many ways, but those 2 teams both adapted very well to stepping up into the Premier League. There's going to be a bit of a test for us, I guess, in that regard as to how well can we establish ourselves as a Premier League team. I'm pretty confident we can stay up. I'm pretty happy with the team I've got right now. I think there's a few players here who certainly don't need to be replaced, and that's quite nice going into this situation because it means I can try and keep a core of the side the same. I'm going to be really snooping around the market trying to find some good bargains. I'd like to start building a young team, but at the same time it's more important to establish ourselves as a Premier League team, and so really investing in players established at Premier League level and perhaps players who are not necessarily old but are in kind of a situation whereby they're not kind of overpriced because they're a prospect. That's kind of going to be the way to go this year. But anyway, we need to win this game to stand a chance. Newcastle's still winning, unfortunately for us, but we might have a chance here. Hendrick, don't give the ball away there. Right, But no, this live com, I kind of did it on the off chance we might have a chance at the title, but realistically, Newcastle probably were never going to lose to Huddersfield. But no, the plan for next year is just going to be to stay in the Premier League. Not even go on a cup run, I guess. Just basically make signings that are going to make a difference. I'm not sure how much money we're going to get, but ensure that we are spending that smartly and kind of build from there in many ways. But anyway, right now we are piling on the pressure in this game against Norwich. I'd like to get some revenge on Norwich here because we did lose to them back in November and it was our first home defeat of the season, I do believe, or it was certainly the last one up until we lost to Nottingham Forest not long ago. So we had a very good home record until that Norwich game, and I want to kind of, what's the word, make amends. But right now this is a very open game with no goals but plenty of chances. Gouffren's thrown away a few for them. We've had a fair amount of chances ourselves which we're yet to take. Going to go a little bit more direct, try and craft out a few more opportunities. I guess, what's the word, sacrifice patient play in return for really trying to pile on a bit more pressure, maybe commit a few more men forward and not necessarily go for the slow build-up, but instead basically look to get a Sombalonga through on goal, be it over the top or be it a case of him holding it up for free air, Hughes or oh gosh, what's the right winger called, my Korean? Where are you? Lee Chung-yong, to kind of latch on to Bulls. We'll make some changes. I haven't checked the score, but I'm pretty sure it's still a situation whereby we need a bit of luck to go our way, and it would have to be a crazy turn of events now to see us get anything from this game. But you know what? I'm not too fussed. We've had a very good year. We're going to finish comfortably second place in the league, which in itself is just an incredible achievement. It's a little unfortunate, perhaps, that we could only get a draw against Watford last game, although they are fourth in the league, so maybe that isn't that bad of a result at all. If we could get a win here, that would be great, but it's going to count for pretty much nothing at this point. Oh, that's a shame. I think Norwich actually need a win to qualify for the playoffs or have a chance, so they're kind of probably going to be desperately pushing here, but we'll continue on the offence here. Can we do anything? Can we? Nope. Edwards, Hughes, Fred through a Sombalonga, Kakuta kicks it straight at Ruddy. We've had 5 clear-cut chances. There's been 8 in this game and it's still 0-0. If that doesn't epitomise poor finishing, I do not know what does. But alas, it seems like time is going to run out here and it's going to finish 0-0. Oh, famous last words. 3 minutes left on the clock. There's a highlight. Can we grab a late winner, or are we going to give Norwich a route into the playoffs? Or is Boswick going to get sent off for murdering someone? Find out. Go on, Keane. Whip it in. Sombalonga hits the post. So close yet so far for the Congan international. There's another chance though. Oh, it's been thrown wide open. Olsen, he cannot finish. My word. 9 clear-cut chances and it's going to probably finish 0-0 at this point. Fortunately for us, failing to win this game, I guess, isn't going to kind of be one of these situations where we kick ourselves because Newcastle have won. But we win the league. We win promotion. And I've just pissed off all the players. Well done. John Ruddy, their keeper, got a 9.2 rating. Probably gives you an idea of how this 0-0 went, because to get a keeper rating that high, you've got to play really well. So anyway, guys, that is going to wrap things up for this season. And yeah, we've done a Southampton, we've done a Norwich, we've got the back-to-back promotions. Things are looking up. Next season's going to be a real challenge. But considering our odds were 33-1, maybe a few fans made a healthy penny off betting for us to go up. So these awards haven't updated yet. Let's have a look at the stats real quick. So if we look at team stats, we have the most goals scored, and we actually got the joint best defence with Reading in the end because we didn't concede and Reading did on the last day of the season. So that's pretty decent. In terms of our average attendance, you can see here we averaged an attendance of 12,030. By percentage, that's 95%, so stadium expansion might be something I have to seek out. We had 7 sellouts in total. Yeah, salary per year, you can see we're actually 11th in that, which is not too high, really, considering how high we finished. And our net transfer spend for the year was not that high, I don't... Oh, it was that high, actually. We spent just over £1 million in total, but that's still relatively low compared to other teams around, as you can see. The 4 teams ahead of us all made profit, whereas we were the team that made the least loss off our spending. And when you consider Newcastle spent £22 million to get out this division, that kind of says a lot about... oh, in fact, no, they made money. How did I make money off my transfers? I don't know. That's just confused me. We're the 5th highest spenders. Correction. I did think that was a little bit odd. How did I make that money? I don't know. Answers on a postcard. Guys, I'm going to wrap things up there. In fact, player stats. Jack, you can't go yet. You need to show off this. So, games won, Briggs and Assombalonga tied with Colaccini and Gary Hooper there. Will Hughes and Assombalonga get the top average ratings. Assombalonga top of the goal scoring chart. Vieira and Hughes both finish joint first before Shaw, but he finishes ahead of both of our players because he's played less games. Will Hughes appears on the player of the match, as does Assombalonga. That really sums up how good our season's been. Friere has almost the highest distance covered, which is pretty impressive. The left winger played 44 of our games this year. He is looking like a fine free transfer. On that bombshell, guys, I am going to wrap up the episode here. If you've enjoyed, as always, smash the like button. Hopefully you enjoyed. Premier League, baby, next year. Can we do it? You guys are going to have to tune in to find out. I'll talk to you all in a bit.